Now, getting to the big issue of Edgar LUNGU. I want to say this. Tonight, I want to reach out to Makebi Zulu and Vamaeva Esther. I want to reach out to them that this case of yours is more dead than Edgar LUNGU. I'm sorry I may be sounding a little bit blunt, but it is just what it is. This case, Makebi Zulu, this case is more dead than Edgar LUNGU. Edgar LUNGU is gone. I believe Edgar LUNGU is dead. Some people don't want to believe this, but for me, I am confident, I am certain that Edgar LUNGU is dead. But this case of theirs is more dead than Edgar LUNGU. Why do I say it is dead? It is dead because, you see, let me go back actually. Let me first go back before before the previous lawyer was fired. Let me go back to trial. When that case was on trial, everyone, including the PF, you saw that case was lost. You saw. Because there are some of you, some of you who have got this infinite faith, in PF and in the propaganda of the PF. But at some point, you need to be reasonable. You need to be reasonable. So if we go back to the trial of this case, most of us, including all of you, the PF and the propaganda machinery, you saw that case was soiled. You saw that case was destroyed. It was destroyed, completely destroyed at trial. At trial, you remember? Go back to the trial. Remember the trial. If you didn't watch it, look for the videos online and watch the arguments in court. That case was completely destroyed. Completely. The arguments that Makebi Zulu was trying to bring, they were all squashed. They were squashed. What were those arguments? Makebi Zulu was arguing about, the Edgar LUNGU story. No, Edgar LUNGU was not treated as a former head of state. Okay? Because he was stopped from jogging. Because he went by economy. Because he took cab. And the court, before everyone, all of us, they said, are you sure you want us to consider that? They refused to consider the Makebi Zulu story. They refused to consider the Makebi Zulu story because Makebi Zulu story, it's like a story of a child, whose parents have come home, and then, this child now starts telling the father, no, then he did this, then he did this, then he did this, A parent will not, take a 5-year-old child, a 5-year-old child, listen to my complaints, this, that, and take up the elder brother or the elder sister and start beating. Some stories, you just look at them to say, anyway, these are petty stories. Makebi Zulu, your story, the Edgar story, is a petty story, and it was dismissed. The judges said, do you want us to consider that? Do you want us to consider that in our judgment? And your lawyer, embarrassingly, denied, answered in a negative to say no. Because he saw that, it was useless. It was useless. It was useless. Those issues, what? He traveled by economy. So what? So what? Oh no, he was asking his friends to pay his medical bills. He's a politician. That's all. That's what we do. All of us politicians, ask from well-wishers to help us. So there is nothing bad about that. There is nothing. And the court said they threw away that. Then there is another issue. Oh la la. Then there is another issue that Makebi was trying to bring up. No, they withdrew his benefits. They withdrew his benefits because Edgar Lungu came back into active politics. He came back into active politics. That's why they withdrew. And it's not really the UPND. It's the law. It's the law. The law is very clear. Once you are, if you are a former president, once you get back into politics, your benefits are withdrawn. And they are withdrawn. The crafters of our constitution, they were not thinking to say one day there will be Haka in the Ichilem and the UPND. And these people, they will hate Edgar Lungu. So we should put in this law so that they can use it against Edgar Lungu. It is not about that. Why that law is crafted like that? It is because when you get back into active politics, the political parties in Zambia are not funded. Political parties in Zambia are not funded. So you, as a former head of state, and government is paying you, taxpayers' money, they are paying you. It is like they are funding your political activities, whilst others are not being funded. You see? Because when you get back, be it that you are a former head of state, when you get back into politics, and you are a political party president, you are the same, even you are the same like me. On that level, in terms of politics, we are the same. So, you should never be paid. That is why they crafted it that to say they don't want to sponsor opposition political parties because we are all not sponsored. Okay, so that's why they withdraw it, and it was withdrawn on that basis. What else did Makebi Zulu talk about? Makebi Zulu, no, the wishes of Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu said that Hakainde Hichilema should not be part of the funeral. He doesn't have to do anything. Of course, that is bitterness. Bitterness, and unfortunately the court said, those issues, you cannot deal them in this court. We can't issue an order that Hakainde Hichilema should not be part of the proceedings of the funeral in Zambia. We can't do that. And Edgar Lungu did not say, bury me in South Africa. So in this case, the issue of repatriation, Edgar Lungu's wish do not come in. The issue of repatriation, Edgar Lungu do not come in because his wish is in Zambia. It is about, I don't want Hakainde Hichilema to be part of it. But he never said, I want to be buried in South Africa. He never said that. So, the South African court cannot give an order that Hakainde Hichilema should not be part of the proceedings. This can only be done in the Zambian courts. So, the issue of repatriation is supposed to take place. It's supposed to take place. And then, if you want Hakainde Hichilema not to be part of it, then you can go to court and seek an order for Hakainde Hichilema not to be part of it. Then, what was the other issue? The other issue was, no, the family wants to bury Edgar Lungu in South Africa. Why? Because they don't trust the Hakainde Hichilema government. They don't trust the Hakainde Hichilema government. And they feel that Edgar Lungu was not treated as president. So, they don't want whatever, anything to do with the state funeral. That was squashed by the public interest matter. The public interest matter is very clear. And public interest matter started in Zambia during Edgar Lungu himself, where Kaunda was buried at Embassy Park, other than at the farm. So, the South African government simply rode on that argument, on that judgment, to say, this is a judgment that you had in your country. This is a judgment that you had in your country. So how can you come here and change the story? This man was a former head of state. And in your courts, you said a former head of state is a public property or is a state property. And public interest overrides personal and individual interests. So these are the arguments, and this is how they were squashed. This is how they were squashed. There is no argument that remains standing in Makebi Zulu's arguments. Nothing. All the arguments have been squashed. So if all arguments have been squashed, this we saw in full view. We were watching. All of us watched that trial. And we saw how difficult it was for the first lawyer to argue these cases. Of course, some people are saying, no, he's a bad lawyer. No, the case is bad. The arguments are not strong. So even if you are a good lawyer, there is really nothing that you can do. You can be a lawyer from Harvard, from wherever. Even if you are from heaven, you cannot argue those cases. Those points, they don't stand anything. They don't stand. And even if you want to argue, because some of you wanted to argue to say, no, the judges have been bribed. Even if judges were paid, these arguments are very difficult for somebody to twist them around. They are very difficult. Makebi Zulu's case is a bad case. It's a bad case. And that's how they lost. That's how they lost. No two ways about it, because these arguments, they are, what is the best word? They are basic, really. I'm trying to be generous. I'm trying to be generous, but really, at the end of the day, it is all bitterness. It is all bitterness. They are immature. They are immature arguments, especially when you talk about in the political scenario. They are really immature. You can't. Look at me. I'm in exile. I cannot use because no, I was in exile and whatever. When I die here, definitely I'll have to be repatriated. My family cannot come in and start saying, no, he was in exile, whatever. They can't. And you can imagine that situation. I've never even worked in government. I've never been in government. But by the very fact that, especially that, I am the biggest opposition political party leader, definitely I will be brought back in Zambia. Don't argue that one. That's a point, Mwanche. It's a point. I'm the biggest opposition political party leader. Nibana ni Muzambi. Nibana. Kateka wa next mulerolisha nipano. The next president nipano. Nibana. Abe ngambita Mzambi. Nibana. Who is going to beat me in Zambia there? Who is going to beat me in Zambia? So, as the biggest opposition political party leader, I must be brought back to Zambia. No two ways about it. And I cannot hold on to bitterness because I'm a politics for Yaba. I'm not bitter because I understand politics. I understand politics. In a crow, there can never be two what is this? Two cocks. Roosters. But with the power, only one must be a leader. This is something that you should understand. This is something that you should understand. There can never be two bulls in one fold. Never. In one crow. No. There can never be two bulls. They will be fighting. They will be fighting. Only one has to be the leader. So mufilemu achita accept. Nangu turechite kansa fya chalo, even if we are engaging, as opposition and everything, we must understand one thing. That there can only be one bull in a crow. Only one bull. Or one mukolo. One what is it? Is it a rooster? They can only be one at every time. So that's why some of us, because I'm also big, I'm also a boo. That's why I'm out in exile. Because I'm a boo also. So I can never be in the same, haka in the HM this side and I'm this side. This is why I'm out. Those people, those small politicians, they are there because they are small. They have not yet grown tabalakula. Yeah, tabalakula. But some of us who have got weight, so we can't. So I cannot be complaining. This is part of politics, and it happens everywhere. In many countries, there are so many politicians that have left their countries, to go and seek refuge somewhere else. That's what happens. Ngawashama ni muchifungo. Others bali ma prisons. In Tanzania, there is what is his name? Tundulisu. Tundulisu is the biggest opposition there. He's in jail. Because he was slow, he couldn't run, he couldn't get out quickly. But he's in jail. Politics is like that. Politics is like that. So you cannot, after Wafwa, you cannot start complaining, I was treated like this. I'm not encouraging mistreating each other. But the thing is that politics, this is part of politics. So, at a funeral, these are not issues that you should start raising. These are not issues that you start raising. You just have to fight. Haka in the Ichilema, you also suffered when Edgar LUNGU was the president. He suffered for that. He suffered when he was the biggest opposition. He suffered. He was followed. He was arrested because he was the biggest opposition. He suffered. And all he did, he fought, and finally he managed to win and is now the president. So you cannot be bringing those issues. Yerama story ya kwa Makebi Zulu, yawa ichea ya. Those are child's play. Those are, I don't want to say childish, but find a way that suits that. So those arguments, you can't bring them in court. You can't bring them in court. You can't bring them in court. So story away, it is dead from when we had the trial. Now, after the judgment, yes, look at very good Trump. Trump also suffered. I mean, people suffer from politics. Politics, they have an, I keep telling you, politics, they have an. And if you are going to be bitter, you will go nowhere. You will go nowhere if you are going to be bitter. What against Haka in the Ichirema. You need to understand. Haka in the Ichirema, for how long was he in opposition? For how long? Almost 20 years the guy was fighting. 17 years fighting. If he was going to be bitter, whatever, ngadi for Congo. Ngadi for Congo. That's why Mulela Ndila to know, if Edgar LUNGU after all was not whatever, maybe he wouldn't have died. Then he's not a politician. If Edgar LUNGU died because of the way he was treated in politics, then he was not fit to be a politician. He's former head of state, but of course, he didn't fight. Edgar LUNGU didn't fight to become president. So maybe that's why he failed to survive. Yali cover politics, yali cover. Nanguniwa sata. Look how long he struggled. He struggled. Yali cover politics. Politics is hot. Everywhere you go, politics is hot. If you want, especially if you are aspiring to be president, don't underrate that position. These young people are coming. He's just from suckling. Suckling. He's from suckling at, no, I want to become president. Nama diapers. And I want to become president. Yadi cover presidency. Yadi cover. Kukosa. For you to come and be the commander-in-chief, you must prove that indeed you are a soldier in your own right. You are a commander-in-chief in your own right. Not pimpini, not yo. Hey, I want to be president, and yet you are scrawny. You are scrawny tawakosa. Ufile wakosa. You must be strong. So anyway, those story Makebi Zulu that you are bringing up, they can't hold, and they are dead. Now, the issue is, technically, there was that judgment. After that judgment, they filed for notice of appeal, meaning asking the court that please allow us to appeal. And they appealed to the same judges, 3 judges, okay? To the same judges, 3 judges. They went to them to say, please allow us to appeal. Allow us to appeal. And now, before the hearing and the ruling being made by those 3 judges, what did Makebi Zulu do? Number 1, they fired that lawyer and they brought in Black Jesus. Okay? They brought in Black Jesus. Makebi Zulu and Black Jesus, they did understand that their case is bad. And they did understand that those 3 judges most likely were not going to allow them to appeal. Follow me very well here. Makebi Zulu and Black Jesus, they realized to say, our case is a bad case. And most likely, these 3 judges will not allow us to appeal. So, what they decided to run to the Constitutional Court. They went and told the 3 judges to say, we want to talk as parties. Okay? They cheated those 3 judges. That is their excuse. Their excuse was that we are talking. We are talking. And what was the response of the 3 judges? We hope these talks will yield to something that will close this matter. That will satisfy both parties. And we are hoping that, you know, this light is a real light and not just a train coming. These were the remarks of those judges. These were the remarks of those judges. They were happy. They were happy. We are optimistic. We are optimistic that, you know, you can agree. In other words, you know, they were just saying, we want you to agree. Basically, they said, we want you to agree. And mind you, even before the trial, they gave so much time. Over 1 month. Why did they give over 1 month? They gave over 1 month so that, because they wanted the parties to be able to agree. But they couldn't agree, and it went to trial. When it went to trial, the case was destroyed. Destroyed, a judgment came out, it was against the Makebi Zulu. Then they now apply for appeal. No, we want to appeal. Before they could hear, they said, no, we are talking. And the judges were like, oh, okay, we are happy. Very good, you are talking. Very good, we hope you will talk and resolve this matter. Behold, what was Makebi Zulu and Black Jesus doing? They were typing documents to file in the Concord. So they were not talking to engage on the matter. Instead, they asked for the court to adjourn so that they can be able to file their documents in the Concord. And when they filed the documents in the Concord, on Monday, they came back to the Constitutional Court, to the High Court, to those 3 judges, and told them to say, sorry, you can't hear us, because we want the matter to be heard in the Concord. In other words, we have left you. We have taken a case elsewhere. We have taken the case elsewhere. That's basically what they did. It was just like telling them to say, we don't want you to hear our case. We don't want you to hear our case. We have gone to other people better. People who can hear us. In the eyes of those 3 judges, Makebi Zulu, the Lungu family, they actually damned those judges. They judged those judges. They spat on the faces of those judges. We are not interested in you now. We are going to that side. Because if they had confidence in those 3 judges, they wouldn't have jumped to go to the Concord. They wouldn't. You know? But no. We want to Ayoko, we are going that side. Okay? You can remain. And those judges, did they say anything? They didn't. They didn't. They just left them. There is no comment. They just read the order to say, okay, we adjourn the matter, Cindy, we adjourn the matter indefinitely. Kavien yuko kuine komulea. Kavien. And that's how they went to the Concord. And the Concord looked at their documents and they said, I mean, Tapadi Filipwa, but there is nothing here for us to jump. Now, there is something that I want you to understand. Makebi Zulu will not tell you this. There is nothing wrong with what Black Jesus did. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong because some people are trying to say, no, they have just advised them. What Makebi Zulu did and Black Jesus did, there is nothing wrong. What happens is that if a matter, okay, if a matter is delicate for some reasons, the lawyers see that this has to go straight to the Concord. The Concord will look at the matter. If they really see that, yeah, there is something that needs, that needs to be considered. Okay, there is something like a matter of agency. Like a matter of agency. An example that I can give you, just as an example that comes into my head. Suppose there is somebody in a hospital who needs blood transfusion. Okay? I'm just giving an example. Suppose there is somebody who needs a blood transfusion. This person needs blood transfusion. The doctors are saying, this person needs blood transfusion. And then the family say, no, you can't give this person blood transfusion because we are Jehovah's Witness. So we don't allow, our religion does not allow blood transfusion. And then the doctors are saying, if this person doesn't get blood transfusion, he will die. So what happens? They go to court, okay? They go to court, and then the family wins the case, okay? The family wins the case to say, yeah, the family is okay because his religion does not allow this. So this judgment, the family is okay. So the judgment goes in favor of the family. Meanwhile, the medical personnel are saying, this judgment will cause this person to die. This person will die. We want to appeal against this judgment. So they go to the court, to the same court, and put a notice of appeal to say, we want to appeal this matter because our interest is this person here. This person will die with this judgment. Then they realize to say, the process might take long to go, a ruling, then to go to the Supreme Court. By the time the judgment will come from the Supreme Court and maybe even go to the Concord, the person would have died. So we want this matter is urgent. This person will die if we follow the due process. So they can write to the Concord. They can go to the Concord and write to say, we understand that we are supposed to follow the procedure, whereby this case goes to the Supreme Court, and if it goes to the Supreme Court, then it can come here. But we want to jump this process. Why? Because we have a person that is on the hospital bed, on the operation bed right now. If we follow the process, this person may die. So please, can you hear us? Maybe you understand our case. And if you don't understand our case, if you rule against us, okay, that's it. But at least, can we deal with this matter quickly? And when the Constitutional Court judges look at that, they look at the gravity of the matter, they look at the agency, they can actually allow to say, yes, bring your case, we hear it, so that we make a determination as to whether this person should receive a blood transfusion or not. because it is going to take long. So they look at the merit. Now, if they see that the merits, the case really is not that urgent, or they see that your arguments are not making sense, they will refuse. They will refuse. And they will refuse on two reasons. They can refuse on two reasons. Number one, they look at the case to say, this case is not urgent. Okay? They look at this case is not urgent. It's not urgent. It can follow the due process. Why should we, short circuit it? Why should we? It is not urgent. Go back and follow the procedure. Okay? Why should it jump the line? Let it just follow the line. I mean, it's okay. That is one reason. Number two reason. Number two reason is that they look at your arguments of your appeal and they believe that even if it comes here, the judgment will not change. You know? They look at the case as, even if we hear these people, the case is straightforward. Okay? They look at the case, this case is dead. This judgment is okay. So why should we even entertain it? No, come on. Send it back. They send it back knowing that this case will not even come to the Constitutional Court. Why won't it come to the Constitutional Court? Because when the judgment is solid, it is not likely that it will go through the entire process. It is not likely. It is not likely that it will go through the entire process. Why? Because, like for now, Makebi Zulu, they have got a hearing for notice of appeal before the three judges. And those three judges, they can agree or not agree. So if their judgment is solid, those judges will not agree. And if they don't agree, the case cannot proceed to the Supreme Court. It can't. It can't. It can't proceed to the Supreme Court. So those of you who are getting excited to say, no, they have advised them to follow the due process, I can tell you, I can tell you, those of you who are getting excited, no, this case will go to the Supreme Court and whatever, they have just advised them to follow the procedure. They have advised them to follow that route because they know it will not go to the Constitutional Court. Your case will not reach the Constitutional Court. Your case is not fit for the Constitutional Court. That's why they have sent it back. They have sent it back because now you are going to face those very judges that you left. Those judges that you said, we are not interested in you. We are going that side. Those are the judges that you are going to face. Those judges that you cheated to say, no, we are talking. Meanwhile, you are filing cases in the Concord. And they just looked at you. They were excited. You excited the judges that, yeah, we are looking into this matter. We are talking. And yet, you are going to the Concord. Now, you are going back. Now you are going back. You are going back to face those three judges. Those three judges that you lied to, that we are talking. And the judges got excited and said, no, we are hoping that there is true light. It is not just a train coming. You will have to go and face them. And then, on top of that, your case was shredded. It was shredded before those three judges. So, out of the arguments that you put, what do you think? What argument do you think those judges are going to look at to say, no, let's allow this to continue? What arguments? And then, another point, there are 3 judges. You know why there are 3 judges? It is to avoid, these appeals to go on and on and on. That's why there are 3 judges. You can't tell me that 3 judges would be wrong and then, they will send it to other judges. No. No. So your case is dead. Your case is dead because you are not going to the Supreme Court direct. You are not going to the Supreme Court direct. You first have to face those 3 judges. You have to face them. Those 3 judges that you lied to say we are talking, and they responded. They put themselves on record. We hope that you whatever. And those 3 judges, from the word go, they have been telling you to engage. They have been telling you to engage. They have been telling you to engage. And Imoma Kembi Zulu, you have been adamant. You have been intractable. You have been intractable. You don't want to listen. You have been stubborn. And are you telling me those judges are not privy to your stubbornness? Because government has continuously begging you to engage. And you have been adamantly, arrogantly, been refusing. Refusing. You can't accuse government. Government have tried. Government have tried. They have been engaging you. They have been engaging you. They have been knocking on your door. And look, you might think that Patrick Kangwa is down. But he's not down. He's a doctor, by the way. When that judgment came out, when the Concord threw away that, what did Patrick Kangwa do? Patrick Kangwa reached out, can we talk? He reached out, can we talk? Because from the government point of view, they understand that, what the South African government and the courts wants is for us to talk. And so, they have been keeping a tab, saying we want to talk, we want to talk, we want to talk. Hakainde Ichirema, we want to talk, we want to talk. We are engaging the family, we are engaging the family. And poor Makebi Zulu, very immature. Each time somebody from government says, we are engaging the family was responding, no one is talking to us. Each time somebody said, no, we are engaging the family. No, we are not talking to them. We are not talking to government. Arrogance. Arrogance. So you have shown before the entire world that you don't want to engage. You don't want. You don't want. And you are refusing even something that is on record. You are refusing to say, no, there was no agreement. There was no agreement. We have never agreed. And yet, you are on video. You are on video to say this is a compromised agreement. This is a compromised agreement. You are on video. But you are coming out. No, we have never agreed. We have never agreed. We have never agreed. We can't trust the government. We can't trust the government. Who is worth trusting between the family and the government? You are the ones who have been shifting goalposts. You agree, you turn around and say, no, we didn't agree. But you were on video, eh? You had a joint press conference. You shook hands. How can you say, no, we didn't agree? Immaturity. Immaturity. And you think those judges are not noticing these things. And these things were brought in court. You agree. No, we are going to take the body. On Wednesday, the body is going to Zambia. Come on that day, the military of another country, they roll out carpets. They bring out, their military to give a send-off. And you embarrass them to say, no, we are not going. No, we are not going. I mean, who do you think the independent people, because South Africans are independent in this matter, who do you think they are going to sympathize with? Who do you think they are going to see to be reasonable? Who are they going to see that at least, you know, there is maturity, there is trust here? You go to the court, the judgment comes out, no, we don't agree with this judgment. We want to appeal. The judges say, okay, you come, we hear you. What arguments you have? The moment you reach in court, you say, no. We are going to the court. You know, you should sit back and reflect. Yeah? You should sit back and reflect. With all these, I mean, who do you think the South African government or the courts or any independent person who sympathize with? Eh? I mean, myself here, I've got people who I interact with. And because of my presence here, they have particular interest in Zambian politics. And they have been following this matter. And time and again, I do have meetings with them. And I'm telling you, I always try to be very objective when I'm talking to them. Very objective. I basically just narrate things as they are. Usually they follow. But they will ask me questions. What about this? What about this? What about this? So I give them, you know, objectively. Because I don't want also to look biased. No, I don't. So, even them, even today, we had lunch today. Today I had lunch with them. And I'm telling you, they are so disappointed. They are so disappointed with the Lungu family. They are very disappointed. Today I had lunch with them and we were discussing. And these are people that are independent. They are independent. They are independent. You know, from these big organizations, UN organizations. Very educated people, very experienced people. And I'm telling you, like today, they were very disappointed because they asked me to say, we have read that the secretary to cabinet, he wants to talk to the family. What is the response of the family? By that time, Makebi Zulu had already had an interview. So I just gave them the interview that Makebi Zulu had. I just played it. I didn't respond. I just said, there is this interview that this guy had. Look at it. When they looked at it, they were very disappointed. Very disappointed. To say, these people, I mean, all this long, I mean, why can't they engage the government? Why can't this guy speak respectfully about the government? Why? So the issue is, you know, those of you who are thinking that you are right, but really, independent people are seeing to say, no, this is too much. And when people ask to say, what are the issues? Why don't they want to come? What are the issues? I simply repeat what Makebi Zulu says. Makebi Zulu says, well, they don't want the head of state to be part of it. They don't want the head of state to be part of the funeral. And that again shocks everyone. Shocks everyone. But they want other heads of state to come and attend the funeral. And where will the head of state be? So really, it is not making sense. And this is why I'm telling you, your case is dead. Your case is dead. The moment you go back to the High Court, and those judges will sit, that will be the end. Because those judges are not going to allow you to go to the Supreme Court. To go there and do what? To go and do what to the Supreme Court? What are you going to do in the Supreme Court? What arguments do you have? Because at appeal level, you don't bring new arguments. You can bring a new lawyer, but that new lawyer, as good as he may be, Black Jesus is a very good lawyer. Black Jesus is a very good lawyer. But as good as he may be, he will not be able to submit new evidence. He can't. He can't. Your case is gone. Those 3 judges are going to allow you to go to the Supreme Court for what? Based on what? What arguments do you have? And you knew it. That's why you took it to the Constitutional Court. That's why you took it to the Constitutional Court. So your case is dead. Just the day that you will enter the court to argue your matter, it will be dead. And therefore, my advice is that save yourself from embarrassment. Save yourself from embarrassment. Because Makebi Zulu, he was asked a good question by Diamond TV journalist to say, okay, you wanted a shortcut, but the government decided saying, let's talk. Isn't that a shortcut? Isn't that the best way to handle this? And Makebi Zulu was not, from the way he answered, he's basically saying, no, we are going back to the 3 judges. We are going back to the 3 judges. You are going to the 3 judges to do what? What arguments are you going to bring? To do what? Humble yourselves. Humble yourselves. Engage government. Engage government. You don't want to be embarrassed. Makebi Zulu, you have lost enough. Today, even your demeanor was looking defeated. Ukwina na winner. But ukwina kobe because of your demeanor. Wachila monika kwat na ufimba. Kwat kulualo lwele, kwat na ulwala, kwat ulwele malnutrition. Because when you are building your body, when the body is building up, it must go with your demeanor. It must go with your spirit. It must go, with your morale. But Makebi Zulu na vena. But ukwina kwa wamulandu wako ati, because he has become fat. He has become bigger. But because of his demeanor, his low demeanor, his low spirit, Makebi Zulu is looking like he is just sick, like a child suffering from kwashoka. Demeanor is bad. Makebi Zulu, wake up, admit, be humble. Just admit, Makebi Zulu, that you have lost this one. Just accept it and humble yourselves. Humble yourselves. Just humble yourselves. Humble yourselves. Kwali shupa kuno kunse Makebi Zulu. Living out here is not easy. I know you guys. Mwali sunga pwenda lama. Mwali tutira. But in them ever. Shikapwa. Money will finish. That money that you have stored up, whatever, shikapwa. That money will finish. That money will finish. Living outside your country is not easy. Living outside your country. In Zambia, you have your life. You have your law firm. You have your clients. But where you are there, to pick it up, it's not easy, Makebi Zulu. It's not easy. So grab this opportunity. Don't try to be big. It will be a sheer waste of time. Anything short of what is unacceptable, whatever. That is childish, Makebi Zulu. That is immature. That's what I've been saying. Because there is no negotiator that uses such things as such terminologies that it is unacceptable. It is a sheer waste of time. No, you don't use that. You don't use that. You don't use that. Though when you are negotiating, you don't. But it's because you are immature. You use those terminologies. You don't. You don't. No, the UPND has weaponized the media. Which media has weaponized? Has been weaponized? Which media? Which media, Makebi Zulu? And this is why you are losing your case. Because even in court, if they ask you which media has been weaponized, you are saying, no, government has broken trust. Government has weaponized the media. They should stop weaponizing the media. the question that we can ask you, Makebi Zulu, which media has been weaponized? Which media has been writing negative things about the family? Which media? Which media? Eh? Unless you want to say Tayali is a media. Unless you want to say Tayali is a media. But even Tayali talks on his own. Tayali doesn't talk to please Hakainde Hichilema. Oh, Hakainde Hichilema does not weaponize me. Tayali is a double-edged sword. He's a double-edged sword. It swings everywhere. Now Hakainde Hichilema turaka kaula. Turaka kaula uli wonse. If you are vipa. So you can't. Who? Which media, Makebi Zulu? Those are the stories. Those are the childish stories you are bringing before court. The UPND has weaponized the media. And yet, Hakainde Hichilema has been saying, you know, when people are crying, we should whatever, we should not get offended by what they say. Hakainde Hichilema, there is no winner, whatever. And then you go and start complaining. No, Hakainde Hichilema is talking about how he was treated when he was in opposition. Eh? When he was in opposition, he's talking about that. He's talking bad about the family. Even when you are talking about how your Edgar LUNGU traveled economy, you don't want Hakainde Hichilema to recall how he suffered when he was in opposition. When Hakainde Hichilema talks about how he was treated when he was in opposition, he's talking bad about the family. How? How? Eh? He can't. You have got a right to talk about this. Hakainde Hichilema should not. I mean, the guy suffered. And he's narrating those stories as his path, where he has, how he has managed, where he has passed to be president. He's narrating his story. He's giving a testimony. Eh? He's giving a testimony. Can't he give a testimony of how he has gone through, like Finondi? Eh? Because I need him exile. I'll be saying, you know, at one point I had to stay out in Malaysia. Eh? Nawala no kulwala. Eh? Bayandipra no kundepula. I mean, Chamika Tashani. Eh? Chamika Tashani. Why are you complaining about that? Why are you complaining about that? If he's lying, you can say, no, he's lying. But he's not lying. He's telling things as they are. So what is wrong? Humble yourselves. Humble yourselves. You still have an opportunity. This, I believe, much as we have reached this stage, I believe that if you engage the government, I am very sure you will come up with something. I'm very sure you come up with something. If you are failing to humble yourselves and whatever, send people. There are people that are willing, that can listen to you, that can go and engage government. And at this point in time, Makebi Zulu, this is the point where you step aside as the negotiator. You step aside as a negotiator. Apa Makebi Zulu, you also need somebody to negotiate for you. Makebi Zulu, apa, you also need somebody to negotiate for you. Unless you are resolved to say you will stay outside. But I tell you, if Makebi Zulu, you continue with this arrogance to stay outside Zambia, I believe you will struggle more than me. You will struggle more than me. Much as you have money, but you will struggle more than me. Imamu aliberesha to comfortable life, shani. If we to aliberera we nankalera in style, yamu street. Myself, I can go anywhere and whatever. But you, Makebi Zulu, Makebi Zulu, you have got to take a soft life, Makebi Zulu. You have got a soft life. So soft life muntu papa to ipondolole for 1 year, 2 years. Because Hakainde Hichilema ale wera 2026. Hakainde Hichilema is coming back in 2026. So you will live long outside there. 2031. Hakainde Hichilema is staying. until 2031. Until 2031. So 5 years. Partly, you are a lawyer, I'm done. Negotiate your way. I know. Kuri ba Esther. Ba Esther chikosele po na lena pa. It's not about Lungu. It's not about what. It's chikosele po ma cases. Ba Esther Lungu, she's scared of going to jail. That's for sure. She's scared of going to jail. But these are issues, again, that you can table before Haka in the HL. You can table this. I know some people will say, but what about you? You have failed to negotiate. Hey, why are you telling others to negotiate? There is a difference. A former first lady and a public lawyer, Fiapusana. She's a former first lady. I can be jailed easily. But a former first lady, it's not easy to jail a former first lady. Even the children of Edgar LUNGU, even Tayali LUNGU, it is not easy. So me, I am more likely to go in jail easily than the former first lady, than the children of Edgar LUNGU, especially at this point in time when the father is even dead. If the father is there, still doing politics, it's different. But when he's even dead, it's difficulty. You can negotiate this. The church mother bodies, they said, let them talk. So my appeal, please, Makebi Zulu. She the phone done the things and already done the thing. I want to open the phone lines. Makebi Zulu, take opportunity. The church mother bodies are saying, let them talk. Other people are saying, let them talk. Don't go to court. Don't go with Black Jesus to go and argue. Don't go. This one, my brother Makebi Zulu, I'm saying this. We know. This is a good advice I'm giving you. Don't go and resurrect that case in the High Court to go and argue it. Because that case, the moment you start arguing it, it will be finished. You would have lost. So, Makebi Zulu, the best that you should do is that don't go and argue that case. Instead, take advantage of what Patrick Kangwa has brought and engage. Get people on your side who can engage maturely, not with arrogance. I always talk about this man. What is his name again? The lawyer for Tasila. Bachangano can really help this matter, I'm telling you. Bachangano can help this matter. Makebi Zulu, step back. Let Mr. Changano take over. Mr. Changano can help. Or get another lawyer. Get Sakwiwa Skota, for example. Even Sakwiwa Skota can do a good job. Sakwiwa Skota, I mean, these are people, this is what they have been doing their entire life. Sakwiwa Skota can engage for you. But Changano is the best one because Changano is not even politically tainted. Let Changano take over the negotiations. Don't listen to some of these clergy because I know, unfortunately, some of these clergy also, they have not helped the situations. They have not helped the situations. Some of the clergy, some of the church leaders have not helped the situations. Because Navena walikwata bitterness. Navena they have got their own issues against you. Haka in the HM against UPND. Navena they are playing their own politics. Which is very sad. You know, church leaders and traditional leaders should resist, you know, being clearly seen to say they are doing politics. Yes, we are supposed to speak justice. We are supposed to speak for the poor. But clearly, some of these church leaders, they have clearly exposed themselves that they are politically charged. And they have an issue with the UPND. And even on this issue of the funeral, They have really shown themselves. They have exposed themselves. They have shown that they have taken a side, which is very unfortunate. So find some church leaders, some traditional leaders that can engage for you and be very open. Be very open. Don't say, no, we don't want to discuss some cases. No. If anything, the issue of the cases is the P1. It's the most important. All these cases that Joseph Mulela Ndapo, hey, wishes Edgar LUNGU, hey, whatever, he was not present. They are nothing. Edgar LUNGU is gone. The biggest issue, it's the cases. So just come forward and discuss your cases. I strongly believe that Hakainde Hichilema and his team, they can listen and you can have a middle ground. Don't take a position to say, no, they will take the body, we will remain. Don't take that position. Don't take that position to say, they will take the body, we will remain. No, that position is not good. Because the UPND is still in power. And you don't know how long you may have to wait before the UPND goes out. Then you can start returning to Zambia. No. No. It is not the best way. It is not the best way to cling on to say until UPND gets out of power. Even me. Trust me, I'm not approaching this matter to say until Hakainde Hichilema gets out of power, that's when I'll go to Zambia. No. 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 I've left it open. Of course, you know, I'm looking more up to God because God knows better. But I have left it open. I am not being so difficult to say, no, I cannot come back. Hey, Hakainde Hichilema. No. Even ka softness akamwa amona is to realize to say, these guys vale teka. Hakainde Hichilema vale teka. UPND is in power. It should be UPND is in power. Some of you, hey, no, hey, kukwata mano. Kukwata mano. Not tikirikiti. Hey, Tayali. Hey, you are not talking. Hey, landako parifi. Hey, mutuka Hakainde Hichilema. Hey, what? No. Kukwata mano. Walolesha, waitoroma. File ashanyapa. File ashanyapa. So, guys, not chukuipompa. You are going to lose. And even if you remain in South Africa, the body comes. The South African government will not look at you nicely. Will not look at you nicely. And you never know. You never know. Anyway, that's my submission. It was more to Makebi Zulu. Please humble yourself. Don't waste your time to go and argue that case before those 3 judges. Because already you spat on the faces of those 3 judges. Then your arguments are useless. They can't be allowed in the Supreme Court. They won't be allowed. The moment you start arguing, that case will collapse. And it will be very embarrassing and it will be very difficult for you. The best is you leave that, pursue the negotiations, and make sure you salvage something. The cases are very important. Don't put them aside. Put them on the table. Put them on the table. You don't even have cases. It's only this and this. This is nothing. This is nothing. You can easily resolve this and come back into the country and continue running your company, your firm.